Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. That will be appreciated. Okay guys, today I'm going to talk about the two English exams that are recognized by the Nursing and the Midwifery Council. As you know, before you come to the UK, you need to write an English exam, especially if you're not coming from a majority English speaking country like most African countries, or I think all of them. Or India and the other places like the Philippines. So the two exams that are recognized by the Nursing and Midwifery Council in the United Kingdom is the IELTS and the OET. So the IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and OET is Occupational English Test. So I'm going to talk briefly about the IELTS. And then this will be the requirements and the band score that they want you to reach in order for you to be registered with NMC. So in IELTS, this is the one that I personally wrote. I had to write IELTS 3 times. And this, just the background of my story a bit about my English language test journey. So I wrote IELTS 3 times. And this is because the first time I wrote it computer-based, and to be honest with you, my typing skills were not that great. So I was very slow in typing, and I didn't manage to reach the required band score in writing, which is 6.5, and I got 6. And the second time I booked quickly after I failed the first time. So it was maybe a week or 2 in between. And then I went and I wrote again and I failed again. And I think this time was because I didn't prepare myself enough. It was just because I failed and I felt like I can, do it, but that was not a good idea. And the third time I decided, okay, now I'm taking my time. I think from the first time to the last, which was the third time, it took me approximately about 3 or 4 months. So the third time I decided to go paper-based because I knew the computer, I was not that good with my typing skills. So I went paper. And paper first attempt, I passed. So this is something that you yourself know if you're good with your typing skills, and you can do this by practicing how many words you can type per minute. And if you know you are not that good, just like me, I will advise you go for the paper. And then according to my opinion, I think IELTS is a bit difficult, and for different reasons. Some people may disagree with this. I spoke to a few people who wrote OET, and I personally myself went through OET because at some point I wanted to go for OET after failing my IELTS for the second time. And then the only reason why I didn't go for OET is because of the cost. It's a bit expensive compared to IELTS. So what I did was to check and to ask people who wrote OET and IELTS. And most people will tell you that they wrote IELTS several times before they decided to go and write OET, and that's when they passed. And most of them passed their OET first attempt. So I do believe OET is much doable than IELTS, but that doesn't make it easier because people still fail OET, okay? So with IELTS, the required band score by the NMC is band 7 for listening, speaking, and reading. And for writing is band 6.5. So the bands, the maximum band is 9. So if you get 7 for those that are required, that requires 7, and you get 6.5 for the writing, that is you have passed your test. And then the cost of IELTS is much cheaper. It's almost half of that of OET. So that's why most people go for IELTS, because it's cheaper, and OET is more expensive. As things stand, in British pound, IELTS test is costing around 175 and 195 pounds. So that is the current one. And then the reason why the price is ranging, it depends on location. When I was in South Africa, there are different locations in South Africa. There will be locations, of course, in India, Philippines, and other African countries as well. So, and then now that is the IELTS. And then, guys, this is just what I think. The reason why IELTS is more difficult is because they can ask any question. They can ask you to write an essay about anything, whether it's football, politics, anything. And just imagine if you don't know anything about politics. It's not easy to write an essay, even though they don't mark according to whether what you're saying is true or false, but how do you actually come up with a story if you don't know anything about the topic. So while with OET is different, it was designed for healthcare workers. So now let's talk about OET. So OET is also divided into 4, which is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So it's the same 4 parts of the exam, but obviously they'll be different because OET is for healthcare. If you are a nurse, you'll take OET for nurses. So meaning that the questions that are going to be asked in there, they are asked to check your English knowledge, but they'll be related to nursing. So that's why I said already you can see the difference between the two. Because if you have knowledge of nursing, yes, doesn't necessarily mean you have knowledge of English, but it's much better because when you are studying, you know exactly what you are studying because you know what type of essays, what type of questions are likely to come. They may ask you about an assessment. In that one where we talk about listening, they may be talking about handing over a patient or maybe discussing a patient or discussing a disease. So it's much easier when you are in healthcare. That's my opinion. That's what I think. So that's the thing with OET. So it's divided into 4, just like IELTS. So for OET, it's different with the IELTS in terms of the scoring because they don't use the same scoring systems. So OET, you have to get what is called grade B, which is 350 or above for reading, speaking, and listening. And you have to get what is called grade C+, which is 300 or above in writing. So already you can see that for both exams, the writing part was reduced a bit compared to the others. And this is because in the past, most people were struggling with the writing. So the NMC reviews this testing system every time. Things change. One thing about the UK is that they change things a lot. So things just change. Even the immigration, now they do want nurses, they want healthcare workers, but 1 year down the line or a few months down the line, they can just close again. So everything is always changing. Now, if you watch your news, you can see that the immigration office already is having concerns, so they may stop the immigration thing. So it's just keep yourself up to date, and if you are planning to move, I advise you just try to do it as quick as you can. And okay guys, let's go back to the English exams. So as I said, the OET and the IELTS are the only 2 that are recognized by the NMC at present. There are other ways that you can prove your English. Some they will require you if you have, you studied in English and you did your practicals in English, and then you can prove that you may be accepted. But those are more complex roads. Not that it's not possible, it is, but it's not a straightforward process. So it takes, it's much harder compared to just using your English exam. And then again, what I'm going to be talking about in the next video is probably some few tips when you have to take these exams. So guys, that is all about the exams. And then, sorry, I didn't tell you about the price for the OET. The OET is around 329 British pounds at the minute. So you can see it's almost double that of IELTS. So some people will say, okay, let me take IELTS twice and before I take OET because it's almost the same price, but that's up to you. But I'll advise to try OET if you can afford it. And IELTS, you can still pass. I passed IELTS. You can still pass, but I feel it's a bit more challenging. So guys, thank you for watching up to the end of the video. And then guys, see you later. See you in the next video. And please like and subscribe. Cheers, guys.